Madam President.
Representative Bell is recognized.
Madam President, I have the distinct honor and privilege to present His Excellency, the Governor of the great state of North Carolina, the Honorable Josh Stein.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Members of the General Assembly, distinguished guests, His Excellency, the Governor of the state of North Carolina, the Honorable Josh Stein.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President Pro Tem, Lieutenant Governor, other members of the Council of State, members of the General Assembly, Mr. Chief Justice and members of the Supreme Court, Chief Judge, members of the Court of Appeals, Cabinet Secretaries, and to all of the North Carolinians watching from your home, good evening. With me tonight are my parents, Adam and Jane, my sister Gerda, brother-in-law Lee, my brother Eric, and my incredible wife, our First Lady, Anna Stein. And as a special treat to Anna and me, our wonderful daughter Leah is here as well. I am honored to address this chamber and share my vision for our future. But first, I must report on the state of our state. I was sworn in as governor 10 weeks ago today. Assuming this office's responsibility has led to prayer and reflection. When any of us faces an important challenge, we search for strength. Strength to rise to the occasion. Strength to reach across differences in search of common ground. Strength to stand up for what we know is right. Strength to meet the moment. Sometimes you don't know how strong you are until you are put to the test. Hurricane Helene and its horrific aftermath tested our state and our people in unprecedented ways. The storm flooded western North Carolina, stealing too many lives from us and devastating too many communities. But in the days, weeks, and months that followed, we have all seen that the state of our state is strong, North Carolina strong. And that's because our people are strong. Ashley Cook is a lifelong resident of Avery County. Her life completely changed on September 27th when Hurricane Helene swept through her mountain town of Minneapolis. Her roof was damaged, but her neighbors got hit worse. So she immediately turned her attention to what they needed. She and her cousin, Freddie Carpenter, first went to work clearing roads and then spent weeks hauling propane, food, tanks, heaters, anything that people needed. In the months since, Ashley has used her Facebook page to connect people with whatever they needed: gravel for driveways, roof repairs, notary services, even a sludge pump. You ask me if our state is strong? I point to Ashley and Freddie and the thousands of Ashleys and Freddies who stared devastation down and went to work helping others. The spirit of the people of North Carolina has never been stronger. Ashley and Freddie were due to join us tonight. I wanted to give them a big shout out, but unfortunately Ashley's under the weather. But let us still thank them and all of those heroes, citizen heroes in Western North Carolina, so that they hear us in Avery County and all the way out west. Let's do that, please. By the way, the people who have been aiding folks out west do not care a whit about the politics of the people they are helping. They simply want to help their neighbors in need, just like the Good Samaritan who took mercy on the traveler left beaten and bloody on the side of the road to Jericho. We must follow their example and step up for our neighbors in Western North Carolina. My team and I have been focused on doing whatever we can to help. On the first day in office, I took action to cut red tape and make it easier for folks to recover. The crews and contractors of the Department of Transportation have reopened more than 1,300 roads so far, and as of March 1st, I-40 is open. Thank you, Joey. We've removed nearly 5 million cubic yards of debris from our roadways. Half of all state parks and cultural sites hit by the storm have fully reopened, and almost all of them are accepting visitors today. So many people and organizations, public and private, have worked so incredibly hard. I saw firsthand the remarkable efforts of the Baptists on Mission in mid-January when I volunteered with them to repair the home of a school teacher in Spruce Pine. Groups like Baptists on Mission and Habitat for Humanity are working tirelessly to get people back into their homes. We need them to keep up their good work. That's why in January, I announced a $6 million grant to these two organizations. In addition to addressing housing, we've been focused on supporting struggling small businesses. After a major disaster, more than 40% of all affected small businesses never open their doors. Within 2 years, 60% have permanently closed shop. Folks, we cannot let that be our story here in North Carolina. Small business is the beating heart of the economy of Western North Carolina. So we have partnered with the Dogwood Health Trust and the Duke Endowment to offer $35 million in grants to impacted small businesses. They can use these grants for paying their staff, restoring inventory, fixing up their property, whatever they need. So far, we've been able to award more than 1,000 grants to small businesses. One of those is in Chimney Rock Gemstone Mine, a beloved family destination. Matt and Michelle Bands have run their gemstone mine for 21 years. That was until Helene caused the Rocky Broad River to jump its banks and flood their store. They've been working incredibly hard to rebuild so that they can reopen this summer. And their small business grant has enabled them to start replenishing their merchandise, hiring back staff, and rebuild. Matt and Michelle, they are here today. Would you please stand? We all thank you for not giving up on Chimney Rock. We will not give up on you. Western North Carolina's businesses are not looking for a handout. They just need a hand up to get back on their feet. And as many small businesses as we have been able to support, many, many more are still waiting for help. So let's support small businesses with grants, just like we do with our farmers. Folks, we're talking about $60 billion in overall damages, by far the costliest storm to ever hit our state. That is too much for those affected to bear themselves. They need our help. People need to get back in their homes. Roads and bridges need to be fixed. Businesses need to keep their doors open and their employees hired. Our communities need clean drinking water. That's why I'm working with President Trump and his cabinet and our congressional delegation to seek billions more in federal funds, ASAP. And that's why I urge you That's why I urge you to pass the $500 million Western North Carolina recovery bill. We need that money now. Heck, we needed it yesterday. Ashley and Freddie, Matt and Michelle, all of Western North Carolina, they need us to do our jobs. So let's do it. Let's pass that bill. And when you do, I am ready to sign it. And once we get that done, and I know that we will, once we get it done, let's get right back to work. We want the people of Western North Carolina to know that we will not forget you. And by the way, when we're talking about rebuilding, we don't mean only out west. A number of folks down east still need help. Folks who lost everything to Hurricanes Matthew and Florence. Folks who just want their home back. The bill that we're waiting on also includes funding to help them move forward as well. And no matter where you live, if disaster strikes, we will be there for you here in North Carolina. Fundamentally, our commitment to our people is that they have a real shot at success, to get a good paying job or start a small business. That's the promise of North Carolina. Where you come from should never limit how far you can go. Delivering on that promise is what drives me as your governor. In recent years, we've recruited businesses that have created thousands, tens of thousands of jobs in this state. We've been ranked in the top 2 businesses for business 4 years running. We've become a leader in the clean energy economy. There is a lot to be proud of and plenty of credit to go around. And I am committed to doing my part as governor to continue our state's economic success. In just the past 2 months, we've announced more than 1,500 new jobs, most of which are in rural North Carolina. But we cannot rest on our laurels. Other states want what we have. It is a very competitive world. We can't afford to leave anyone's talents on the sidelines. So we must be a state that is welcoming to all people. We must continue to grow our economy and ensure that it works for everyone. The people of North Carolina are our greatest asset. So to invest in our future, we must invest in our people. And I know this. Look, when it comes to being the governor of this state, when it comes to developing the workforce of this state, no state will outwork North Carolina as I am governor. Our goal is to set the national pace in growing the number of skilled workers, including doubling the number of apprentices over the next 4 years and empowering hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians to get the credentials that they need to secure a good-paying job. So I'm proposing that for students getting certified in high-demand sectors like advanced manufacturing or healthcare or IT, that we provide them free community college. We've also got to support Propel NC, which rewards community colleges when students earn credentials for these high-wage jobs. I'm creating a council on workforce and apprenticeships to unite community colleges, public schools, and local businesses around our shared goal of getting more people access to good jobs with good wages. We know how to do this. Heck, it is happening in many corners of this state today. Northern Regional Hospital in Mount Airy had a nursing shortage. They had to pay very expensive traveling nurses just to fill the gaps. So in partnership with Surrey Yadkin Works, a local workforce organization, the hospital worked with Surrey Community College to create an apprenticeship program. Emily Oriana always knew that she wanted to be a nurse, but she didn't know where to start. This apprenticeship program helped connect Emily to Northern Regional when she was in high school. She earned her certified nursing assistant credential in high school. Now, she's about to graduate from the community college's nursing program as a registered nurse with a focus on ICU care. Emily inspired her sister, Haley, who is now pursuing her own nursing credential to work in labor and delivery. Haley, Emily, would y'all please stand up so we can thank you for taking care of our people? Thanks to this apprenticeship program, Northern Regional Hospital is training its next generation of healthcare workers homegrown and has completely eliminated its dependence on traveling nurses. It's about turning apprenticeships into careers, which is good for both the workers and the employers. Folks should not have to get a bachelor's degree to get a good-paying job and provide for their family. Every hard-working North Carolinian deserves a real shot at a brighter future. And we have to create conditions that allow them to fulfill their potential. Yes, that means good-paying jobs. It also means clean air to breathe and clean water to drink. And it means lower costs. Too many North Carolinians are struggling to pay their bills, including housing and child care. North Carolina is the third fastest growing state in this country after Texas and Florida. But our housing supply has not kept up. To keep prices down, we need more housing of all types: single family, duplexes, triplexes, apartments, condominiums, special needs housing. We can find bipartisan solutions to high housing costs if we work together. So let's do it, and let's get more homes for our people. It's not just housing that's in short supply. We also need more child care options. You want to hear something crazy? You want to hear something crazy? Too many parents can't afford to work. That's because they can't find child care they can afford, if they can find it at all. At the same time, we don't have enough child care workers because they don't get paid enough. Currently, there's only one child care slot for every 5 families that wants one. Of course, parents should always have the option to stay home with their children, but it should be a choice. Parents shouldn't be pushed out of the workforce. When they are, they suffer, and our economy suffers. Each year, our state loses billions of dollars in economic activity because of this child care crisis. So earlier this week, I announced a bipartisan task force on child care and early education to find innovative solutions to this challenge. And when we do, it will be a win for our children. It will be a win for our parents. It will be a win for our businesses and economy. Let's work together to expand access to quality, affordable child care here in North Carolina. To make North Carolina a state where people thrive, we need to invest in children and their families by cutting taxes for middle-class families. We can cut taxes. We can cut taxes to help families manage the cost of raising a child. We can cut taxes to make child care more affordable. We can cut taxes on working families to put more money in their pockets, lift children out of poverty, and stimulate local economies. These 3 targeted tax cuts are what being pro-family looks like. We can afford them and still meet our critical education, healthcare, and public safety needs. But we won't be able to make these necessary investments if we do not address the self-inflicted fiscal cliff that we face in a couple years, especially given today's economic uncertainties. We're at a fork in the road when it comes to our budget. We can go ahead with the nearly $10 billion in tax giveaways over the next 4 years, mainly to the wealthy and to corporate shareholders. And by the way, very few of those shareholders are North Carolinians. Heck, most of them aren't even American. Or we can help our neighbors recover from Hurricane Helene, invest in our public safety and public schools, provide targeted tax cuts to support our working families, and keep up with the needs of our fast-growing population. So what is it going to be? Are we going to give money to out-of-state shareholders or invest in North Carolina families? We cannot afford to do both. We should choose North Carolina's children and family every time. Of course, we have to be fiscally prudent, to be smart about how we invest our taxpayers' dollars. That's why I'm directing my budget office to set up the Impact Center to ensure that our government is run effectively and efficiently, because people should know that their taxpayer dollars are being well spent. But let's get it right. Let's use a scalpel, not a chainsaw. Today, the state of North Carolina is strong. Let's invest to keep it that way. That includes investing in our teachers. just take a second. Remember your favorite teacher from elementary school, middle school, high school. A good teacher inspires their students. That's why we must recruit and retain the best. And that's why we must give teachers a real pay raise. Right now, North Carolina's starting teacher pay is the second lowest in the Southeast. Second lowest. Lower than every one of our bordering states, even South Carolina. Anna and I know some parents of recent college graduates. Those graduates wanted to live and teach in their home state, but they chose to move to other states because our salaries simply are not competitive. It's an embarrassment. We can and must do better. Here's a goal that I think we can all get behind. Let's make starting teacher salaries in North Carolina the highest in the Southeast. And let's reward experienced teachers who stay in the classroom. I know that there is bipartisan support for these efforts. I know there was a bill just introduced in the House. This is an area where we can work together. So let's do it. Let's invest in our kids. Let's pay our teachers a salary that shows them how much we value them. We're honored to be joined this evening by several recent North Carolina Teachers of the Year and Beginning Teachers of the Year, including Ms. Kimberly Jones, and I'm giving her a special shout out because she teaches at my alma mater, Chapel High. She did not teach me, however. Will all of our remarkable educators please stand up? You all are shaping our next generation, and we are all so grateful. Yes, we have to pay teachers more, but raising pay alone is not enough to improve our kids' education. We need to expand the state's Advanced Teacher Initiative to better utilize our best teachers and give them a career pathway. We need to extend the science of reading to our middle schools to improve learning there. And we need to put public dollars toward our public schools. North Carolina is 48th in the nation in per pupil investment. Let that sink in. 48th. We should not be taking money from our public school kids to pay wealthy parents sending their kids to unaccountable private schools to the tune of $7.5 billion over the next decade. We also need our kids to be fed, because when they're hungry, they don't learn. A square meal improves student attendance, behavior, and learning. Principal Allie Setzer, leads Eastern Elementary in Pitt County, which is already providing free school meals to all of its students. Principal Setzer, please stand so we can thank you. I thank you for your leadership The experience of Pitt and several other school systems prove that we can do it. Let's provide every North Carolina student a free school breakfast. Our students also need safe and well-built schools. Unfortunately, too many of our schools are overcrowded, or use trailers, or have old leaking roofs and broken heating and air conditioning. It is 2025. We should not have to send kids home from school because the heat doesn't work. We need safer, healthier, and more modern schools. So tonight, I'm proposing a $4 billion public school bond. And if you're not sure about it, let's let the voters decide. We also need upgrades for safety, like cameras, fences around playgrounds, exterior locks, fewer access points to secure our school buildings from people who mean harm. Nothing is more important than keeping our kids safe. It also means that we've got to protect their mental health. North Carolina has underinvested in school social workers, counselors, and psychologists for far too long. Let's make sure that our schools have the support staff they need to improve our children's mental health and help them thrive. And when we talk about youth mental health, we've got to talk about cell phones and social media. Cell phones are a major source of distraction for our students and disruption for our teachers. When teachers don't have to compete with TikTok for student attention, and when students don't have to choose between social studies and social media, real learning happens, and their mental health improves. Too many young people are struggling. Too many kids are bullied. They need and they deserve a 7-hour break from the unrelenting pressures of phones and social media. Classrooms should be cell phone-free zones. And I'm gratified that bipartisan members of both chambers are tackling this issue, and I look forward to working with you to make this happen. I spent my last 8 years, as you know, as Attorney General, working to keep the people of the state safe. And as governor, I am still at it. So I'm standing up for the people who protect our communities. We ask law enforcement officers to make tremendous sacrifices on our behalf. We ask them to run towards danger when the rest of us may flee. Time and time again, they say yes to protect and to serve. There are a number of law enforcement officers with us here tonight. Will you all please stand? Every one of them is a hero, but I know I'm running long, so for the sake of brevity, I'm going to give one a shout out. And that's my buddy Forsyth County Sheriff, Bobby Kimbrough, who has dedicated 4 decades to public safety. Sheriff, we appreciate you. We appreciate all the law enforcement here who are here tonight and the more than 30,000 certified law enforcement officers across this state. We thank you all. As I travel the state, I regularly hear about law enforcement staffing shortages. Vacancies make it harder for law enforcement to do their jobs to keep us safe. That's why I am proposing salary increases for state law enforcement and correctional officers, and signing bonuses for new officers, whether they are state or local. Let's make sure that we have more police officers on the beat. Let's show the nation that we put our money where our mouths are. In North Carolina, we value our law enforcement, that we invest in them the way that they invest in us. And let's improve public safety by tackling the scourges of opioid and fentanyl addiction. I first met Debbie Dalton after she experienced one of the most terrible tragedies that a parent can face. Her son, Hunter, was one of those larger-than-life personalities who made every person he met feel special. He loved golf and travel, and he beat Steph Curry in a free throw shooting competition at Davidson Basketball College. 3 days ago, Hunter should have turned 32. But at 23 years old, fentanyl tragically ended his life. There are thousands and thousands of stories like Hunter's, young people whose lives were taken too soon because of one of the deadliest drugs to ever poison this country. And too many North Carolinians are like Debbie, parents, siblings, children, friends, people who will never get their loved one back. During my time as Attorney General, we made real progress combating the fentanyl crisis on a bipartisan basis, and we helped to reduce overdose deaths in the last couple of years. But even one death to fentanyl is one death too many. That's why I'm calling on the General Assembly to fund a fentanyl control unit of law enforcement and prosecutors dedicated to getting it off our streets. That's how we can honor the memory of Hunter and all of the North Carolinians we have lost too soon. Debbie, would you please stand so we can thank you for your willingness to turn your personal pain into purpose for other people. Thank you, Debbie Dalton. What we've been talking about tonight, they're not red issues or blue issues. They are North Carolina issues. Of course, on some of them, we may differ about how best to get where we want to go. That's fine. That is the democratic process. But I am certain that if we come together across our differences, we can find common ground and make progress. If those of us who believe in the possibility of bipartisanship look to Washington, D.C., we will surely become discouraged. But we do not need to be pulled into those political games. We can create something better, something forward-looking right here in North Carolina, and we can do it together. After all, we've done it before. 2 years ago, Republicans and Democrats worked together to expand Medicaid here in North Carolina. Today, more than 640,000 of our neighbors have access to newfound high-quality health care. In our struggling rural hospitals, they have been given a lifeline. But we know that some in Washington are poised to take aim at our effective, efficient, and critical Medicaid program. The cuts that Congress is considering would be absolutely devastating to the health of our people and our entire healthcare system. I have been urging Washington to follow our example by putting party aside and people first. Just as we stood arm in arm as North Carolinians to make Medicaid expansion a reality, let's stand arm in arm to defend our health care. When we, as Republicans and Democrats, come together, that's when we make a difference for our people. We've made big things happen before, and we can do it again. We can help Western North Carolina recover from the most damaging storm in our history. We can grow our economy and make it work for more people. We can make sure that our workforce needs meet the needs of our people and our businesses. We can keep our communities safe, and we can put our kids first every time. That's because the state of our state is strong. North Carolina strong. Our teachers make us strong. Our law enforcement officers make us strong. Our small business owners, farmers, vets, child care workers, community college students make us strong. You, the people of North Carolina, make us strong. So let's come together and keep North Carolina strong. Thank you. May God bless you. May God bless the state of North Carolina.
The Sergeant-at-Arms of the House and the Senate will open the doors. The chairs of the Escort Committee are recognized to escort His Excellency, the Honorable Josh Stein, from the chamber.